From Shanghai and Japan in a war to the Red Team's invasion of the Mamluks. This video is going to be insane. Stick around till back, everybody. Okay, so firstly, like and subscribe. Secondly, today we're going to be doing two things, and some more if time allows. Firstly, we're going to have the invasion of Japan by Shanghai, obviously, as said in the intro. Second, Red Team's invasion of the Mamluks. Okay, we will get to that in a little bit, but that is going to obviously raise tensions in the Mediterranean very, very much. So, okay, let's go over here. So, if you remember at the end of the last video, or the video before that, I don't remember, but Japan annexed a small piece of Korea, which made the blue team and Saigon start getting prepared in case they need to intervene between these two, and make Shanghai insanely mad. And today that will finally boil up with the civil war of this country. Basically, what's going to happen is these guys are going to get civil war, and Japan is going to instantly start giving that a lot of money because the government over here is a little getting way too close to Shanghai. Now, the government is a horrible government, so it is pretty easy to get people on board. However, Shanghai really does not care, as they just want this land for themselves. So Shanghai, knowing that there's absolutely no way they're going to be able to actually protect the government, they just invade themselves to try and set up a buffer zone between them and the rebels, which is going to make their reputation in the region even worse. And after getting this far, they're going to capture the capital, which is going to end the civil war, as people realize this might be really bad if we do not end it. And they also start clashing with the rebels over here. And eventually this will end the civil war and a puppet government is installed in the region. However, Shanghai is very, very mad at Japan now. And they offer Japan an ultimatum. They say, 1, leave Taiwan, 2, stop trying to intervene in our politics, 3, give back the land you took from South Korea, and in exchange, or face war. Japan obviously secretly had been over here in the north, been building up a strong military, and quickly it sends the navy firstly all the way around Shanghai, and an army of about 5 million troops, 2 million troops right here, right? Shanghai responds with an army of about 1.5 million troops over here, and their navy gets dispatched like right here, but let's be realistic here, that's not doing anything against the Japanese Navy. South Korea is going to muster up the strength of 500,000 troops to help. However, the other Korea is going to be 600,000 troops, and Manchuria is going to supply 100,000 troops. That's not looking good. So in total, 600,000, 2 million, 2,600,000, it's 2,700,000 versus 1.5 plus these guys are 500, so 2 million versus 2.7 million. 700,000 more. 700,000 more. So if we do the math on that, basically 200 million, 700,000 divided by 200 million, 2 million, 1.35. There's about 1.5 troops for every Shanghai troop. Not that bad. They're not outnumbered that much. Anyway, so the war begins. Now quickly it begins at a somewhat low scale. So the blue team does think that they can, maybe stop this. So they're gonna quickly begin giving a lot. They're gonna start doing a lot of sanctions. Meanwhile, Saigon is going to quickly launch an operation into Taiwan, which is going to be used to basically capture the island and try to make that military base be destroyed so that the war doesn't escalate. However, they're going to fail in this actually, and Taiwan is going to push, and the island of Taiwan. The Japanese are going to push Saigon back instead, and Saigon is going to have to do an evacuation mission as the rest of their part of the island falls, which is not looking good for them so far. The blue team, meanwhile, is going to with the help of the with a threat to the Philippines, start setting up a lot of navy bases over here. However, that's not really going to help them because the Japanese are in turn going to quickly land, capture the capital, installing a new government that is more favorable to them. But they're also not going to really stop there because they're just going to keep this land. This in turn is going to lead to the already unstable Philippines ending up into a civil war, which is not going to be very good for the blue team because the blue team again wants to keep the peace. So already we have a lot of conflicts happening, and already it's not looking good. So the blue team is quickly going to get its two allies over here involved, and together all of these guys I'm going to say are going to have 3 million troops. Problem is they can't lose more than 100,000 because this isn't their war, and that's going to make people even more mad. Meanwhile, the red team, knowing that Japan is probably not going to be able to stay strong, starts supplying a lot of troops. Meanwhile, over here, Shanghai quickly breaks through and begins their own invasion, which is going to go somewhat well, however, not really that well, and they're not really going to be able to get that far. Now, yeah, Shanghai outnumbers Japan. I mean, Japan outnumbers Shanghai. However, quality also matters, and Shanghai's weapons are a lot stronger. They're also um gonna actually change, do a complete 360. They're gonna forget all politics. They're gonna ally themselves closely with the Mamluks, since the blue team has been doing some trying to stop their war, and through the Mamluks, they're gonna get supplied even more weapons. Meanwhile, the Mamluks are going to sign a trade deal with the red team to send over Shanghai the latest weapons and armor. You know, it's just tools in general. And Shanghai is going to get two things that are going to destroy everything: a warship that has a catapult built on it. What? No, no, that seems like something that should already be very widespread. They're just gonna get a really, really good boat that's like very, very strong. They're gonna get two of them. And Japan, the blue team is gonna make them the blue team because they want this to be somewhat equal. The blue team's gonna quickly give them one, just because they don't want this to go too bad. Now I did not forget. I know that the red team actually supports Japanese. However, right now it's all hell, and it's basically first come first serve according to the red team. Meanwhile, over in South Korea, the country is going to now completely fall, which is going to change the landscape of things. However, Shanghai is going to go straight up around and make a landing over here with their new ship, and they're going to be able to use that landing to destroy the capital of this Korea. So not looking good. However, the people over here who have not been done right by the Japanese are going to actually join Shanghai in their war. So this thing is going to completely switch sides. Now on the side of Shanghai, they're going to quickly begin expanding. They're gonna start like declaring war on Japan, and they're gonna get pretty far out, trying to meet up with the coastlines to be able to get even more Shanghai supplies. However, they are gonna make it. However, I don't think that's gonna really help them that much because realistically, they're still completely covered by Japan. Um, Blue team now though is gonna finally start their peacekeeping mission. Uh, Saigon troops from Saigon are going to now begin their invasion of Shanghai, and this invasion is going to go somewhat well. Somewhat well. They're going to capture the south over here, set up a little bit of a zone, and start trying to threaten Shanghai into like conceding. Blue team is going to do something economical. They're going to completely shut down. They're going to put sanctions and make their allies put sanctions on both countries. More Japan than Shanghai. Actually, no, more Shanghai than Japan because Shanghai is getting too strong. Not by that much though. And if we look around a little bit, yeah, the blue team's allies are basically the entire world. Rome is going to join the blue team in this to preserve their relation with the blue team, so that includes the Mediterranean lines now. And they're also going to shut down all their waterways to ships from both countries. Now, Japan eventually is going to get brought to the same level of sanctions. However, there's a difference of impact. Japan is pretty self-sustainable. They don't even have that many trade relations, really. They were already pretty sanctioned. Shanghai had one of the largest exports in the entire world, and about 80%, not 80, that seems to be 70% of their economy relied on exporting goods. With that gone, Shanghai's economy, which was like pretty gradual but like growing over the past like few months, slowly but growing, is gonna come crashing down. So this is where the war started, and right when the sanctions hit, you can see they're gonna come crashing down, and they're gonna start like slowly but surely they're gonna start going down, rapid rate. Now here is the problem with all of this. Shanghai is no longer able to support these guys, and Japan knows that. And Japan, first things first, is gonna push this back. Second things second, they're going to absolutely steamroll this back into the capital, reinstalling their puppet, and now that's back on their team. Third thing, they're going to push back Shanghai. Now, pushing Shanghai back is going to hit hard, I'm not going to lie. The Shanghai morale is absolutely destroyed. However, that's not the only thing, because Japan is going to continue the invasion, capturing a large chunk of the outer regions. Now, if they get into the inner, it's basically it. It's dead. The morale for the troops is gone. They do get to the border of the inner Shanghai lands. However, they don't invade it yet. Over here, though, they do make a little bit of a landing, which they're going to use to actually capture this land. And from here, they're going to switch strategies. They realize that their economy might be cooked a little bit too, and they're going to try to get down to Shanghai, the capital, and destroy it. Now, here's the problem with all of this. Shanghai is also going to send a secret covert mission over here to Tokyo with both of those ships that the red team gave them. And quickly they're going to launch an all-out invasion of the Japanese mainland, reaching the outskirts of Tokyo. Now the problem is, right here is where it all changes. All goes down for the Japanese. Tokyo is sieged, completely sieged. Nothing comes in, nothing goes out. With Tokyo being held captive over here, the Japanese are gonna start trying to negotiate. However, what can they do? Like, well, what are they gonna do? Also, these guys are gonna actually leave the war now, um, cutting their ties with the Japanese, not really wanting to get comboed. Saigon and Blue Team, meanwhile, are gonna launch a campaign into these South Islands with the Blue Team capturing this, and they say this is to like, they just want to make it really hard for the Japanese to continue fighting, and they say that now they're gonna focus on the Japanese instead of Shanghai because Japan is close to a loss. And the blue team does capture a lot. However, Japan and their propaganda machine is going to be insane. They're going to recruit an astonishing 2 million more people, pushing back this and this. That blue team thing still stays, but pushing, more importantly, sending hundreds of thousands from here into here, making a small little landing over here that's going to turn into something much, much bigger. Now it's Japan's turn, and it looks like the capital of Shanghai may fall. Meanwhile, over here, troop morale is even lower. These guys have not heard of any other news, however, which is why they still believe that they're cooked. And, well, I mean, they are cooked. So they're going to keep on getting pushed back. Now, Japan, both countries know that whoever loses this war, the winner of this war will become the king of East Asia. So Japan's going to do something a little bit irrational, a little bit risky. They're going to declare full on war on Saigon. No longer in order to save themselves from the peacekeeping mission, just a full on war. This is going to change everything because before the blue team was like chilling, the blue team was like peace missioning. Now it's an attack on a blue team ally. Not only that, but these guys are going to orchestrate a rebellion in the heart of the blue team. They're going to hire hundreds of militias, and the militias are going to begin a rebellion. A rebellion that is going to almost end up destroying the blue team's capital. However, the blue team is going to immediately try to destroy it, and now it's an attack on the blue team. Now begins the real war. Shanghai, with now having the support of the blue team, first things first, Saigon's going to pull back from here almost immediately now. Second things second, the blue team is going to launch a full invasion of Taiwan, recapturing the entirety of the island. That's not going to look very good for the Japanese. Third things third, they're going to launch an invasion of the Philippines, where they're going to capture all the islands with rebels on them, and they're going to help the Philippines government restore control over the main island. Then they're going to send in a special force to execute the current government installed by the Japanese in the capital, which is going to lead to the Japanese falling back and retreating from Philippines. With Philippines now on the side of the blue team as well, because now it's a blue team sided government. Now it's even harder for the Japanese to win this. And quickly they're going to realize that the only way they're actually beating these kids is by destroying Shanghai as fast as possible. And so instead of caring, taking it slow, trying to do quality work, now the Japanese are going to quickly break through here and try, instead of trying to get the best possible outcome, they're just going to try to destroy as much as possible in exchange for ending the war as fast as possible. Basically, they're just going to try to pressure Shanghai, and quickly they're going to get to the outskirts of Shanghai, the capital of Shanghai, and they're going to capture the city, destroying Shanghai, killing the king. However, the prince is still alive, and he's going to quickly retreat into Saigon, where he's going to not actually give up, which is the scary part, because Japan did not expect this. However, Japan is also not going to stop either. They're going to continue their invasion, now outstretching the front line even more. However, this is also outstretching their supply lines, which they're starting to starve because they can't afford this much. The blue team, meanwhile, is going to quickly start sending troops, stopping the advance into inner Shanghai, and actually making a landing over here that is going to be repelled. However, it does showcase that they can make landings. Meanwhile, the red team is now going to go into full-on support mode, sending so much aid to the Japanese front lines. However, the blue team is a little bit mad at this, and they're going to do something kind of irrational too. They're going to move up into Qatar. They're going to quickly launch an invasion. They're going to quickly launch an invasion, clean swoop, and they're going to get this far before the red team starts to try and stop them. However, the message is clear: do not get involved in East Asia. And once they get up till here, they're gonna fall back. However, on the condition that the red team stops. Red team is gonna get insanely scared. Their capital almost just got destroyed, and they just started repairing their relations with the blue team. The Cold War stuff in Africa was already becoming really bad, but at least in Asia they were allies, and especially in the Middle East around Persia. So the red team's gonna be like, fine, but lift the sanctions from Japan. Blue team's gonna agree. Japan is going to get their stuff back. Like, they are not going to be sanctioned anymore. However, now instead of a mandatory sanction, it's a volunteer sanction. Blue team themselves are still going to sanction them. However, not all of their allies are going to sanction them now. Some are, some are not. In India, only these guys are probably, because the rest are too small to be able to cut off this many imports. Back over here, Saigon is going to continue to get destroyed. Actually, they're going to be the ones probably taking the brute force of the Japanese. Now, the Japanese goal in Saigon is to basically deliver a message to the blue team that, like, your own ally might die if you continue this. And they are going to do pretty well cutting off the east and the west. And they're also going to fund these guys in order to start a rebellion and try to get their freedom from Shanghai, no longer becoming a Shanghai puppet state, which is going to work, as the people are going to convince the government. And the government is also going to jump in on that, trying to invade over here. However, Shanghai is not about to let this slide, and they also launched their invasion alongside the blue team, trying to capture as much land in the north as possible. And it's a mess, isn't it? It is a mess. Blue team is going to invade over here, quickly capture the capital. We already know. Meanwhile, Shanghai is going to wipe out the rest of the nation. We're going to speed that part up. These guys are not main characters. And that is going to be enough to help Saigon also push back. And yeah, this is not looking good for the Japanese so far. They are actually going to make a landing back onto Taiwan, recapturing that. However, how long do you realistically think that's going to last? Because Blue Team owns the other half, and they're going to quickly return that to Saigon as Saigon troops make their way back onto the island in order to fight the Japanese. Now, while that is happening, over here in Saigon, it is hell. Japan is on like a slaughter mission, not even capturing land, not even conserving land, just to deal as much damage as possible. And they're going to quickly spread like an infection. They're going to quickly move up, cutting off this. Now, the message is clear. We don't want to hurt you, but we will hurt you as much as possible, so you stop getting involved. And Saigon is eventually going to give an ultimatum to their blue team. They're going to say, like, take these two to the negotiation table and end this as fast as possible because our economy and our people are being destroyed, oofed. The blue team is going to be like, okay, Japan, what if I pull out, but so do you? Japan's going to agree to that. The blue team is going to pull out, but so is Japan. It is officially peace between the Japanese and the blue team. Blue team no longer involved in Japanese stuff. Shanghai is now on its own. That's not good because now with the blue team out of the picture and blue team troops returning, Shanghai troops are going to start retreating, and a lot of them are going to start either like going to the Japanese side or just running away completely. And that's going to lead to the front line finally moving again instead of it just being a stalemate. And that movement is going to be this way. Shanghai is going to get absolutely cooked. It's not looking good for Shanghai. Also, this thing is technically not Japanese, so this is still under Shanghai and blue team control. Shanghai. Oh, actually, no. The blue team is just going to transfer that control to Shanghai just because they don't want to be involved anymore at all. However, the blue team, they're still going to help Shanghai everywhere they can. Like, they're still going to go up there and, like, say that we should end this war because of human rights. You see, blue team didn't care about that when it came to Japan, but now there's Shanghai. They care about that. The double standards are crazy. So they are going to start talking about that. Japan is going to start getting a lot of international pressure, and eventually they're going to actually start doing something good for humans. Basically, you remember how these guys were really impressed? Yeah, they're going to ask the Japanese to come liberate them, and that's exactly what the Japanese are going to do. They're going to liberate that portion, and now the human rights thing's on Shanghai. Reactivating that issue is going to lead to Shanghai's abandonment of all of this. And it's looking like the victor may actually be the Japanese. That is until one small mistake. Japan forgot something. Japan forgot to destroy this city. The city that is the biggest military production. And people are going to be very, very scared. Production is going to be even higher, and with that city already having like the resources to be able, I know that city's actually Shanghai, but I made that mistake a very long time ago. So Shanghai in this world is the capital, and quickly that is going to lead to some new stuff, and people are volunteers are going to be starting to happen. These guys right now, the Japanese armies have 5 million troops total. These guys are at 2 million. However, they're going to muster up the strength to get up to 3.5 million, quickly reaching and securing their capital once more, which already that is a big blow to troop morale for Japan, because now they're getting scared again. However, even more astonishing is that there's somehow, some way, Shanghai is going to make a landing on Korea and secure Korea once more. That is the wrong color, my bad. 1 minute, let me switch the colors. Okay, there we go. They're going to re-secure Korea, and now it's looking pretty bad. However, Japan, what are they really going to do with Korea? Japan's obviously going to re-push them back. But now, Blue Team's also going to pull something interesting. Blue Team is going to completely go back on everything they said, launching a full-scale invasion of northern Japan. Japan is going to be mad. The blue team people are going to be mad because the blue team is going back on their word. However, the blue team is going to say that this is needed. Over here, the people over here and here are going to realize life is actually pretty much the same or worse under Japan, and that's going to help Shanghai recapture the patriotism of the people. Quickly, they're going to push back, and now it's looking a lot more even all of a sudden. Saigon is still going to stay out of this. However, Shanghai is going to do one final blow that's going to make the Japanese reconsider everything. They're going to land over here. The red team now even more scared is kind of reconsidering everything. And on behalf of Shanghai, the blue team launches an invasion of the red team. An invasion of the red team. Because the red team was campaigning a lot for Japan, right? And even though they shut down their aid, they didn't really. They started up their aid again, and the blue they didn't they decreased it a lot, but they didn't completely stop it. And also, the blue team starting in Japan knew that red team would start giving to Japan again as well. So just to disable that almost instantly, the blue team launches their own campaign into red team, disabling any aid. And then they are gonna pull out. However, the red team industry in the south, the place where they were actually like sending stuff to Japan from, is gonna be completely destroyed, and it's gonna be able to get rebuilt in like by next episode. However, just that sheer amount of blue team anger is going to finally make the red team stop supporting Japan completely. Actually, Japan's gonna pull out something even worse. With the red team not really supporting them anymore, they're saying like, no, we don't want to do this. You should maybe stop because they're now telling the Japanese because they're still trying to make the Japanese win. So now they're telling the Japanese just take what you can get and leave because there's no way Shanghai's winning all of this, right? Except yes, it is because Japan is gonna go over there, and with the blue team, and they're gonna reject that. And since the red team is like now getting mad because like they could have beat uh, the blue team in the East Asian region, they're going to actually end up completely cutting everything and turning waves, which is going to lead to Japan actually making a landing onto Qatar, which is instantly going to be crushed. However, now red team troops are going to head to Shanghai, and red team is also going to declare war on Japan. Can we just take a moment to see how absolutely cooked the Japanese are now? These kids fumbled so hard. They went from having Shanghai pushed down to like here to now having lost everything except for the mainland. Not only that, but Shanghai and these guys. Now these guys start off like this. However, eventually Shanghai and these guys, an unspecified amount of time passes. These guys are actually going to unify with Shanghai. They're gonna become like a part of Shanghai through let's say the two prince slash princess gets married, something like that. These kids are getting unified. Shanghai is unmatched. Now, I want you to see how absolutely cooked these kids were during the war, and see that they got no land gains from this. However, it's okay because the amount of economic recession the Japanese are suffering is one worth it. Two, the Japanese have to pay these guys so much money, and three, they get Shanghai as their ally, and Shanghai is this big. Now, this part is outer Manchuria. Shanghai is not completely annexed that. This is outer Shanghai plus Korea, obviously, and this is inner Shanghai, right? So I feel like I should actually probably give Korea some like their own thing. I guess I will be doing that actually. Yeah, the the Koreans are going to get their own thing. Korea is actually now going to be the same as it once was at the at as the because remember they got absolutely cooked by Japan and then lost so much territory. Well, now they're back. They're back and they're better than ever under Shanghai. And Japan is cooked. Also, I said in the intro we were going to do this war over here, but we're gonna put that off until next episode. This episode is already almost half an hour long. Anyway, this is the peace treaty. Basically, everything is now under Shanghai. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.